Last Thursday's industrial relations changes are a win for employees and for employers. I was disappointed, though, to not see more, especially the wage theft and enforcement measures in Schedule 5. I've been very vocal and active working for casual miners and workers and want to share what last Thursday's changes mean. Firstly, though, the government agreed to my demand for a comprehensive review into the employment of casuals in the Hunter Valley. The government committed to the Fair Work Ombudsman doing a thorough review. Secondly, after almost 2 years supporting injured casual coal miners, it's time to look for a broad and complete solution. I invite the key stakeholders to join me at a round table to discuss solutions for the problems that I have identified facing many workers in the Hunter and throughout Australia. I will be inviting key stakeholders, including unions, employer groups, and government, to come together to work cooperatively and then report back on the results. It's time the facts came out and are addressed. Thirdly, the IR Club, class action lawyers, and political parties with vested interests have driven a dishonest misinformation campaign protecting their easy profits and their power over workers. So now here are the industrial relations changes and what they mean. Casual workers now have a pathway for conversion to secure permanent work. There are 2.5 million casuals in Australia. In some industries, casuals want to stay as casuals for the loading or for the lifestyle. 830,000 casuals are employed in small business, our country's largest employer and largest provider of jobs. Most awards already include casuals. The Black Coal Mining Industry Award, though, did not have provision for casuals on production and only in staff jobs. And the unions refused to fix that. Despite that prohibition on casuals, the Hunter Valley CFMEU negotiated and signed enterprise agreements that allowed abuse of casuals. It did that without casual conversion, and that had locked many miners into being casuals forever. Some enterprise agreements that the CFMEU had agreed to were for substantially lower pay rates than mine owner enterprise agreements. I tried many ways to overcome this. Yet once I realised that union bosses had signed these enterprise agreements with lower pay, I knew that the workers were then legally bound by that deal. It's important to know that some workers value casual employment as a way of getting into the coal industry or as a way of getting more money quickly and then leaving the industry. Workers and employers have a definition of casual employment now that provides clarity to protect all businesses, small and large, and gives workers a fair go. The definition is complex, yet detailed and comprehensive. We negotiated a 12-month review of the new law to identify and rectify any unintended consequences. It's one of our amendments to protect workers. Employers will be protected from paying twice for casual workers' entitlements, as that could have driven businesses, especially small businesses, insolvent. Now, workers can still get their entitlements and will get their entitlements. Permanent workers will get their entitlements, while casuals will continue to be paid a casual loading in lieu of the entitlements. It just means people won't be paid twice. This protects small businesses from double dipping, where workers are paid a casual loading in lieu of entitlements and then paid for those same entitlements in addition. Now, following my commitments and my comments opposing double dipping, I should have been no surprise that I voted for this offset clause. The class action lawyers and some union bosses who profit from signing the abusive enterprise agreements and then taking employers to court are worried about the changes. Employees in small businesses will have the option to ask for conversion to permanent instead of adding to busy small business employers' paperwork having to track people. This will ease small business red tape. That's an amendment we added. Preserving all workers' entitlements and rights means that workers will still be able to file claims for wage theft or to vary enterprise agreements made incorrectly. We made sure of that. Now, some enterprise agreements were for substantially lower pay rates than mine owner enterprise agreements on the same site. Again, it's the union bosses that signed those agreements and made them law. We can't do anything about them. Workers have greater flexibility now in seeking to convert to permanent work when it suits them, while the many who want to stay casual can now have that option too. Having worked at the underground coalface for 3 years, I proudly admit to having a soft spot for miners. Yet while taking care of miners, I have a responsibility as a national senator to our whole country, including small business, Australia's largest employer. Out of the hundreds of awards in place across Australia, only 12 didn't have clauses for casuals. This law now covers all awards, including coal mining and small business, and miners now have a casual conversion option at last. Though we are also asking the Fair Work Commission to ensure that the awards align with the legislation. When this legislation was first introduced into Parliament last year, we immediately wrote to more than 80 stakeholder groups and invited feedback. The CFMEU Construction Division said it was the only invitation they received from a politician. In total, we listened to around 100 groups, some more than once, including the ACTU, who had 3 meetings with me. The big problem for casual coal miners were the cracks they fell through because union bosses were happy to sign agreements knowing there was no definition for a casual coal production worker. And this disadvantaged casual coal miners. The union didn't care about that for years. The lack of a definition of casual coal mine worker that the union bosses, the Fair Work Commission and the Fair Work Ombudsman and the government ignored for years until now has caused huge problems for workers. Now we have a definition, and this should only be better for workers. Groups representing small business, as well as individual business owners, have been very positive about the changes that One Nation advocated for economic recovery. These include the Council of Small Business Organisations of Australia, COSBOA, the Small Business Association of Australia, the Australian Retailers Association, the Small Business and Family Enterprise Ombudsman, the Australian Hotels Association, taking care of pubs, the Australian Industry Group, the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Queensland Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Opponents of these reforms have been treated harshly by employers and by employees alike. For example, the ACTU reportedly copped it from small business employees. Simply saying it's bad for workers is not enough to describe this legislation. That's nonsense. Some workers are taking time to understand the changes, yet small business employees and employers have been quick to see the benefits. The main negatives we faced have been from class action lawyers and the Industrial Relations Club. So we must be doing something right for workers. The negotiation process has confirmed some core truths. Firstly, the Fair Work Act is the real culprit. It's 6 bloody inches thick. How can any worker or small business know their entitlements, rights and protections? They can't. And that's why workers have lost entitlements and unions have lost members. The Fair Work Act is the root cause of the complexity and problems, and we must do something about that. And we had success during negotiations with unions and employer groups agreeing to my invitation to them to discuss what employers and employees need in order to restore Australia's productive capacity and to give workers a fair go. The Rudd-Gillard-Shorten Fair Work Act has led to a drop in union membership and a deterioration of management and executives right across our country. People are going around the laws. Workers and employers are both losing and hurting. Employers could not afford the complex system or the cost, and nor can the workers. We need to restore the primary workplace relationship between employees and employers to make work safer and more satisfying for our workers and employers and make it more productive for our country's future.